Hey guys, today's video is about Erisin, and this head unit has 4 GB of memory and an 8-core processor. So one of the first questions that you're probably going to have is, who is Erisin? And that is actually the same question that quite a few people have asked on my channel, asking me if they're any good. Now, I've never heard of Erisin before, but what I have noticed is that they sell their products on Amazon. Now, I will say I do not get paid to endorse any companies or products, and this is just going to be based on my own opinion and experience using this product. And now I'm going to get it out of the box and check it out. And here it is. Now, this actually does feel like pretty good quality, to be honest with you, and it has some really special features which you don't really find on a lot of Android head units, that being the physical volume knob that's on here. Now, it does feel a little bit plasticky. I was hoping that it would be rubber or something like that, but at the end of the day, it's a physical volume knob, and that is something that is really good thing to have. And slightly below the volume knob, you have twin micro SD card slots, one that is marked for media and the other one that is marked for satellite navigation. And then below that, you have some lovely physical buttons which have a really nice clicking sound when you push them, so that is excellent as well. Slightly below this, you have a USB port and you have a reset button here. And then if we have a look at the back, you can see that we have this very large metal heatsink to aid with heat dissipation, which is always a good thing. You've got varied connections for the main loom. You have a FM antenna connection here. You've got 3 USB ports, various other connections here, which we'll go into in a minute. And you have a GPS and a Wi-Fi antenna connection here. Now, the title on Amazon did actually state DAB, but I think they're being a little bit naughty there because there is no DAB connection on the back of this, and I know it's not going to be using the main FM connection. I think you probably need to buy the USB stick like every other Android head unit brand, so that was a little bit naughty, Erisin, but fair enough. So in the box we have a GPS antenna, a Wi-Fi antenna, ISO loom, a loom which is for the steering wheel controls and the reverse camera, a USB extension lead, a loom which has auxiliary video and audio input, 2 video outputs, then you have rear left, rear right, front left, front right audios, a separate subwoofer and a front camera video input as well on that loom. We have a microphone with a specialist connection. I've never actually seen that before. Some brackets, a bezel, and a generic unbranded manual. Now, I know that some of you are going to be wondering whether or not this thing is going to be fitting into a standard doubled-in cage for fitting into the cars that actually require a cage, and I can tell you that no. Well, it kind of does. It goes to about there, so this big fat plastic bezel around the screen is actually wider than the cage itself, and therefore it doesn't go any further than that, which means if you did use a cage, it would stick out of the dashboard a little bit. Which means it's a similar situation with some of the A-Totos and some of the cheaper Extron units. You're going to need to modify the cage to actually get it to sit in properly. Right, I'm going to get it set up in the jukebox test station and we'll check it out and see if it's any good. Okay, so it's in the jukebox test station right now, and the first thing that we're going to do is turn it on and see how quickly it boots up. And there we go. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch it off and I'm going to switch it back on again. I'm going to see if it boots instantaneously or we have to go through the whole boot process again. And it's instantaneously on, and that's great. It's remembered its previous state and instantly turned on, and that's what you want to see on these Android head units. When you get in the car, you just want them to be on instantaneously, and this one does not disappoint in that respect, so that's fantastic. So let's talk about the look and feel of the device. Well, obviously very impressive. It has the physical knob for the volume control, and that is a very nice feature that you just don't get in a lot of other Android head units, so that's really great. And you have your physical buttons, again, very useful. The screen as well is pleasantly surprising. So obviously it's only 600p, so it's one of the lower resolution screens that you get on these Android head units, but the contrast of it is actually rather good. So it's not a really cheap screen. It does actually have some good color depth, and that's something that I really like to see as well. Now the dashboard's pretty basic. So you've got a dashboard with time and date in the top left hand corner up here, and then you have some icons. This one frees up memory. You've got the volume control here, you've got brightness settings, you've got the equalizer here, and then you can flick between the dashboard that you have here and then all of the other apps that are currently installed on this device. It's a pretty basic dashboard. It's not something that I would keep on here. I'd probably use a third-party launcher software to make it look a little bit nicer, but the fact is it's functional and that's all you really need. So let me show you the radio, because obviously that's an important aspect of the head unit. This is the software that you get. You get different presets that you get down here. You can tune it in using these buttons here. One of the annoying things about it is the RDS doesn't actually show you the radio station for some random reason. It does show you what track is playing though. It is getting that information from the station, and it shows you, you know, the type of music, but not the radio station. So no idea what they were thinking when they designed it from that perspective. Right, let's have a look at the menu. So I'm going to pull down from the top. Okay, apparently the Google Play Store has detected that there's a harmful app called iGo Navigation that's installed. That's a bit weird. I'm sure it isn't harmful. It's probably just something that it doesn't agree with. Anyway, menus. Let's have a look, shall we? Yeah, this is very basic Android. There's no design gone into this at all. It's just basic software that you get on the majority of the cheaper Android head units. A little bit disappointing that Erisin hasn't decided to, you know, invest in some actual design of their menu. And don't get me wrong, you're definitely going to find all the settings that you're looking for. Everything's pretty self-explanatory. But if you look at today's head units and the big manufacturers like Atoto, TI's, Joying, they have designed something to make it very user-friendly, and this is, well, it's just not. Okay, let's talk about speed. This thing has a PX5 chipset, which is, well, pretty dated nowadays. The PX6 is around these days, so this is an older chipset. So we'll do the usual speed tests using everyday apps, and I always use Spotify and Waze to see how long they load, so let's have a look. So, okay, there we go. So, not the fastest head unit by any means. I mean, it's not that bad. But it is showing its age a little bit with the amount of time that it took for this to load up. And then we'll have a look at the Waze. So it works fine, but it takes a very long time to load, and that's what you get with the older CPUs. And this is what the difference is between the CPU and RAM. This does actually have 4 GB of RAM, which allows it to multitask and do other things, but it doesn't have that quick CPU so that things can load quickly. And just to put that into perspective, if I switch between Waze and Spotify, see, it's instantly there, it's already loaded up, so it's in the memory. So I can switch between these two apps without any issues whatsoever. I can listen to music and navigate at the same time, and it's not going to slow down, it will work fine. It's just that those initial loading of the apps to get them into the memory is what causes the problem. It is a little bit slower. So from a speed perspective, it's probably a little bit slow for the money that you're spending, but it's okay, it works fine. So let's talk about vehicle integration. The main thing that we're looking for with these head units is the ability to use your steering wheel controls to control the head unit, and then some other small things like matching the lights on the buttons to match the interior color of the lights in the car. If we have a look at the settings, we go into car settings and base settings, we can find panel color setting, and if I tap this, you can see that we can actually control the illumination color of these buttons on the actual head unit as well. So for example, in my car, which is a Saab, all of the interior lighting is green, but they do give you the gradient option as well here, and that will cycle through all of the colors of the rainbow continuously if that's what you want to do. But the fact is, they give you the control over your colors so that you can match the actual car itself. That's cool. If we go back, then if we go into steering wheel setting, You can actually press a button on your steering wheel and then program it to do whatever you want on the actual screen as well. So yes, it does give you the option of using your steering wheel controls with this unit, so that's cool as well. But there's no other advanced canvas features. You're not going to be seeing your climate controls or anything else on this screen. It was never designed for that. So let's talk about features. It is an Android head unit, which means you get the good stuff like being able to use YouTube and Netflix, etc. But the main point here is that this head unit actually does have wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, and that is awesome. And all you need to do to access this functionality is connect your phone to this head unit using Bluetooth, and that's it. And then what you do is you go to the Z-Link app here, and it automatically gives you full Android Auto or full Apple CarPlay, and my phone is not connected with a wire, it is just using Bluetooth, which is fantastic. Yeah, so that's a really great functionality of this head unit. Let's talk about the sound quality of this Erisin unit. It does come with DSP, digital signal processing, and that means that you get a bit of control over the actual audio itself. And if we have a look at the graphic equalizer here, it does come with a 16 band graphic equalizer, so you got 16 different bands of frequencies that you can alter to get it sounding exactly as you would like. You can actually modify these manually, or you can choose the presets up here to however you like the sound. One of the cool features about this Erisin unit is it actually allows you to control the equalizer separately on both the front and the rear speakers. So if you've got different speakers in the back of the car than you do in the front, or if you want a little bit more bass in the rear speakers than the front, you can actually do that just by selecting front and rear and then changing the equalizer settings to how you want them. That's cool. The second tab here allows you to change the surround effects settings. You've got bass boost here, again on the front and rear of the car. The sound field is just your generic fade and balance. And then you have a bass filter which allows you to select cut-off frequencies for the speakers. Again, you can have the front and rears controlled separately. And in all honesty, it does actually sound pretty good. So with the mixture of the graphic equalizer through the DSP and the amplifier that's built into it, it does actually sound nice. It's got a nice frequency range. I'm pretty happy with how it sounds as well. So all in all, this Erisin had a PX5, it's an older CPU, it does have 4 GB of memory, it's okay from a speed perspective, and it does sound good, and it has wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. So for £200 or thereabouts, that's actually a pretty good price for what you're getting. Right, let's give it some scores. As usual, I hope that you found this video useful. If there's any particular questions you'd like to ask about this unit, please do ask in the comments section below, and I will see what I can do about answering them. If there's anything in particular that you'd like me to add in these videos, please let me know, and I will do that going forward. Thanks for watching.